Blow machine!
11 miles south of the ghost town of Taiban, sitting quietly in the open expanse of Taiban County, lies the Blanco Graveyard. If you pass it today, like we did, you might see little more than a weathered iron fence and fading headstones tilted in the prairie wind. But beneath this soil rests the forgotten generation that tried, and many failed, to conquer the high plains of eastern New Mexico. Between 1906 and 1910, the arrival of a railroad brought over 1,000 families rushing into the area. They came primarily from Texas, Oklahoma, and states further east, lured by promises of cheap land and rich farming. The Blanco Graveyard holds roughly 50 marked graves and at least 23 unmarked ones. Life on the Llano Estacado was merciless. Infant and child mortality rate was high. Nearly a third of these graves belonged to them. Disease and epidemic, of course, was another killer. The 1918 Spanish flu claimed young adults in their prime, and the dry earth, the bitter combination of severe droughts, dust storms, and those back-breaking farm accidents eventually broke the community. A major source of death of these early homesteaders was the water. The shallow groundwater and natural creeks throughout Tobacco and Lincoln counties pass through massive underground beds of shale, red mudstone, and gypsum. Nearby Yeso also derives its name directly from the Spanish word for gypsum. As you drink this untreated water, it is saturated with high levels of sulfates and alkali and acts as a potent laxative. For the new homesteaders unused to the local water, chronic diarrhea led to severe dehydration, malnutrition, and imbalances in the electrolytes. Conditions that are especially fatal to infants, the elderly, and those already weakened by the manual labor that surviving out here requires. In addition to the dehydration, highly dissolved mineral loads strain your kidneys and the digestive tracts. Dysentery and typhoid fever are common because the local water sources are so easily contaminated with the expulsive excrement of the dying townspeople. The regional lore says early ranchers and travelers warned newcomers that the water south of Fort Sumner and along Taiban Creek was not fit for man or beast. And settlers often had to haul fresh, drinkable water by rail car or wagon from miles away once they realized their hand-dug farm wells were producing undrinkable gyp water. So while the headstones in the Blanco Graveyard rarely listed water as the explicit cause of death, the high mineral and gypsum content in the local groundwater wells was a major underlying factor in those illnesses. Another sad tale on our expansion west. It's amazing that anybody survived out here long enough at all to call this place home and put down any kind of foundation. But luckily they did, because explorers like Scott Laudati and Thom Young need something to do, and we're here to catalog it all. If you ever find yourself out on these badlands, make the left and rights on these roads and seemingly drive off to nowhere, because this is where you find a graveyard like this one we found at Taiban. We had no idea it was there, and what a find we had. Alright, we're off to Friona. See you next time, baby. How about that Blanco Cemetery outside of Taiban, huh? That place looks haunted as hell, but beautiful. What a weird place. We took a wrong turn and ended up at the end of that road and found that cemetery. It's not even on a map. Anyway, Rainbow Road by Scott Laudati. Let me know you love me by buying a copy. It's $10.99, 70-something poems, all brand new. Follow me on Instagram so you can see my tour dates. If I'm coming through your town, we can hang out. The shows are always free, but we can party and get drunk, all right? Love you. See you next time. Mwah.